Today on Jolly Living, we're going to discuss Kershaw knives. Hey guys, welcome back to Jolly Living. As always, I hope you're having a sensational day. Today, we're going to be discussing Kershaw knives. So in front of me, I have two examples of Kershaw knives. One is the Kershaw Dividend in orange, which is a fairly new offering from them. And the second one is the Kershaw Shallot, which is an older offering from Kershaw and is no longer in production, but I'm going to be using as a comparison tool today. So I will discuss the history that I have with Kershaw. I'll discuss the knife's quality, their price point, everything. I'll give you sizes and I'll give you my opinion on them, and then we'll wrap it up. So let's dive right into the knives. I've re-recorded this segment like 5 times. I keep bringing up knives that I just want to bring into the review. Knives that I've used in the past in my professional and personal life. But in front of me, I've got a Kershaw Dividend in the orange, and I've got a Kershaw Leek in, below that, Kershaw Shallot in the black. I've been using the Kershaw Dividend for about a month now as my everyday carry knife, and I've been using the Shallot as my everyday carry knife in my personal life for the last 4 years. I'm extremely pleased with both of these knives, and I'll get back to these, but I just want to go over my history a little bit with what knives I've used in my professional life. So at the very beginning, I used a Kershaw Cryo. It's a very small, maybe 5 inches long folder, also made by Kershaw. And that worked well for me until one day I was prying on something with a blade and the tip snapped off and I threw it out into the middle of the Atlantic. So I needed a new knife, and let me get these out of the way. The Navy was kind enough to issue me a Gerber, it's called a combat folder. I've personally never seen these in stores, not that I've really looked for them, but as you can tell by this 6-inch rule, it's a big old knife. It's probably going on 10 inches, 10 or 11 inches. And don't get me wrong, it's great, you know, for that industrial working atmosphere. However, it's not so good for an everyday carry. It's just too big to be carrying around. I have abused this knife. I think at one point I sharpened the blade with an angle grinder, but it stood up well to it and I got no complaints. Following that, I kept getting annoyed that the clip would get snagged on stuff, or that I had to take time to unfold it in situations where, you know, being quick might be a safety issue. Making sure people don't get caught up in lines and stuff like that. So I started carrying a fixed blade. This is a SOG. I believe it's called a Seal Pup. I've had it for around 10 years. But other than camping and stuff, I never really found a great use for it. So bringing this in, I've gotten my money's worth out of it, absolutely. And again, no complaints with it. It's a solid knife. I've found that the steel dulls a little bit quickly, but I carry around a little Benchmade sharpener that doesn't make it perfect, but it touches it up and makes it usable. So I've carried this for about 4 years. In my honest opinion, it's a little bit big. The blade comes in at 3.5 inches of cutting edge, whereas with the Dividend, the blade comes in at pretty much 3 inches exact. So if you do live in a state or a municipality, or at least for my branch of service, I know that they mandate that any knife you carry be shorter than 3 inches in overall length of the blade. Nobody really cares about that where I work, but it is something if the people you work for are sticklers or the law in your area mandates it. If you're looking for that, this knife right here is pretty good to go. This knife is no longer in production, so while I do recommend it, absolutely, it's not something that you're going to come across easily. Moreover, the old style of production for Kershaw knives had a little bit thicker handle scales made, whereas with this, might not come across on the camera very well, but the handle scales on the Dividend are far thinner, so there's much less heft in the handle of the knife, and with the blade also being shorter, there's a little bit less heft on the front as well. So it makes it lighter in the pocket, easier to forget it's there, which for me is a benefit because I'm not going to think about it, or I don't want to think about it unless I need it. Both knives feature pocket clips that are removable. Both sets of screws are T6, so Torx bits, number 6, pretty small but doable. They don't grip very well. I actually had to flip the pocket clip on this one around to carry tip down. The finish on them, again, this is a 4-year-old knife, and while there's definitely, you know, marks, and I think I have a little super glue on here and anything like that, it hasn't been worn through. There's some scratches up here from where I carry the knife in my pocket, and my keys or something might rub on it, but this is a DLC, diamond light coating, and it's held up extraordinarily well. This knife, I said, is new to me. It's about a month old. The handle looks like anodizing, perhaps. The handle has held up well so far. I don't see any scratches from everyday pocket carry. And the blade as well came from the factory, very sharp. And it's got a nice, I want to call that stonewash finish, but it's got a nice flat finish on it that makes it easy to clean and look good. So there's 2 big selling points, in my opinion, to Kershaw knives. The first one is price. These are, without a doubt, quality knives. For someone who spends their entire day cutting open cardboard boxes, these knives will do the job, and do the job without any question. If you're going beyond that, and like I said earlier, maybe using them to pry on something, these aren't the knives to go for. There are better knives out there, but I would say 99% of people that are carrying a pocket knife are using it for opening cardboard boxes, opening packaging, opening very simple things that most knives can do. The price for these knives is extremely competitive. I think I recall this one buying it for about $40, and this knife, depending on where you buy it, can go for anywhere between, let's see, right now on Amazon it's going for about $40 for the gray version of this, and to me that's an extremely great deal because, like I said, they're solid knives. This one's 4 years old and there's no flex in the mechanism of this blade. I've never taken the mechanism apart or anything like that. This is factory stock after 4 years of use. But the main selling point is Kershaw's speed safe feature. So these open with a very, very solid opening. You've got your little thumb stud, if you want to call it that, up here, and all you have to do is apply a little bit of pressure and bam. Something that I've noticed is, even though this is 4 years old, it still has a significant amount of spring pressure to it. It's slightly slower than this brand new knife. Let me see if I can try to trigger them both at once. This is a little bit of an awkward angle. Yeah. That's not the best example, but I would say subjectively that one opens a little bit slower. This one also has less weight to hinge around that lever right there. So if it is the same strength spring, you're going to get a much more positive opening. And once they are open, this blade without really kind of flexing on it too hard isn't going anywhere. There's a liner lock right here. Every Kershaw knife I've ever had has used a liner lock, and you just got to push it to the side. Very easy. It closes. Same thing on this liner lock. Open that way and closes nice and easy. The other two knives I've had from Kershaw, like I said, was a Cryo that I broke the tip off on. That's really on me, but these blades aren't the thickest, so as you can see, that comes down to a really fine point, and to break this off isn't exactly surprising. And then the knife that I had before that was a Kershaw Leek, which I acquired, I think, the end of my freshman year of college on recommendation from a friend. And I had it all through college up until I lost it and went about getting this shallot. So incredibly happy with that knife, incredibly happy with both the knives in front of me, and I was happy with the Cryo while I had it until it broke. One issue that I do have with these knives is how they ride in the pocket. So you can see where this pocket clip is. If it's sitting on the top of your pocket, you're still going to have, it's probably about 1/2 inch. Yeah, you're still going to have a little more than 1/2 inch of this sticking out of your pocket. This is even more egregious. It's, well, that's awkward. You're still going to have almost an entire inch sticking out of your pocket. There are much better knives out there in terms of concealability, where the pocket clip pretty much comes right up to the top of the pocket. This is an improvement over this, so I'm happy with this and that it does hide a little better, not that the orange helps it blend in. I will actually take a picture of this and this in the pocket of the pants that I'm wearing, and just so you can get a view of what it might look like if you were carrying it around. And I'll insert that here. So as far as the paper cutting test, I don't know why people always like to see this. I've used this blade thoroughly and I haven't sharpened it in maybe 2 years, so it's dull as a rock, and I don't expect it at all to cut this paper. Yeah, that ain't gonna go without tearing the paper, and that's on me. That's not on Kershaw. However, this is about a month of use into it. Factory sharpening, I haven't touched it up at all, and let's see how it goes. Like butter. Oh. So that cuts really well when I can get it to dig in. Anyway, just wanted to give you guys a quick overview on this. I know it's not a very comprehensive review. Like I said, I've only used it for a month. I'm just giving you my my feelings on this. I don't have any reason to believe it's not going to turn out to be a wonderful everyday carry knife. I'm looking forward to continuing to carry this, and I don't expect to have to replace it anytime in the near future. That wraps it up for this overview on the Dividend knife by Kershaw. If you have any experience with Kershaw knives or you have an opinion on them, please leave a comment down below so I can gather other people's opinions and other people can gather your opinion. If you enjoyed the video today, please leave a like. If I've somehow persuaded you to go and get a Kershaw knife, I've left links down in the description below, so you can pick one up there. It helps out the channel. It'll help you out because Kershaws are great knives. And other than that, I think that wraps it up for the video. I hope you guys have a good day. Bye.